Hello and welcome to this Asante Academy of Chinese Medicine presentation. The topic is Fundamental Theory of Traditional Chinese Medicine. My name is Alex Eftime and I'll be guiding you through this topic. The second part of this presentation will focus on the 5 elements theory. As we focus on the 5 elements theory, we can start discussing this by trying to understand what we mean when we say 5 elements. There are many translations for the Chinese wuxing. Some people use 5 phases, 5 agents. Ultimately, these are 5 systems. And within each system, a number of natural phenomena and a number of different ideas are integrated. As we look at the table on this page, we find a number of ideas are inserted in each column representing one of these one of these elements. It is essential for our clinical practice and our clinical reasoning to understand and learn these systems individually, as well as in relationship with other systems. As we carry on discussing the interactions between these 5 elements, we can focus on 4 different particular types of relationships. The first one is that of generating. We can look at the 5 elements as having a relationship within which one generates the other, and this forms a cycle. This forms a cycle because wood generates fire, fire generates earth, earth generates metal, metal generates water, water generates wood, and the cycle starts again. Now, this is a very important relationship in clinical practice because very often we see this relationship being interrupted, and when we look at one element generating the other, we are discussing about them in a context where one becomes the mother and the other becomes the child. So in this context, as wood generates fire, wood is the mother of the fire, fire is the child of the wood. Another relationship that is normal within the theory of 5 elements is that of controlling. Without control, without restriction, things would develop with, they would develop without any limits, without any way of stopping. And that would lead to abnormalities, that would lead to excess. So, in contrast with the idea of generation, which is an increase, one increases the function of the other, the relationship of controlling is where one element decreases the function of the other. So we can look at wood controlling earth. Within this relationship, we can surely imagine strong roots being able to hold the earth in place and not allow any movement, such as a landslide, for example. From this relationship, from that of controlling, we can look at 2 different pathological, 2 different abnormal relationships. First of them is overacting. Now, we mentioned that wood can control the earth. Overacting is an extreme form of control, as we can imagine that if these roots that I mentioned previously, if they grow too strong, they can destroy, they can damage the earth. So within this relationship, we need to look at each individual element as having the capacity to overact and being overacted upon. As we carry on discussing about the second abnormal or pathological relationship between the 5 elements, we can look at again the relationship of control. Now, the counteracting is a reversal of this control. Instead of wood controlling earth, earth is, in this example, too strong, and wood cannot interact, cannot interfere with its activity because it's too weak to do that. So we look at the idea of earth being able to counteract wood in this scenario. And that can happen, like I previously mentioned, in 2 particular circumstances. Either earth is very strong or wood is very weak. Because the relationship does not imply, this sort of an abnormal relationship does not imply that there is necessarily an excess. However, there is a relative excess of one element or the other. And as we look at the relationships between the elements, we can look at every element being generated and generating, being controlled and controlling, being overacted and overacting, and being counteracted and counteracting. Join me soon for the second part of this presentation, where we are going to discuss about qi, blood, and body fluids. Thank you very much for watching, and have a very good day.